Ah, this is it, you see. You're nicely not busy, so therefore you've had lots of time to think of your wonderful historical hijinks story.
Hijinks?
Hijinks? Well, they are funny. They're generally funny.
People's reputations.
No, I don't think you two need to worry about any reputations anymore. It's pretty much, you know, in tatters.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
ever since we started doing these.
Yeah, right. This is it. This is what it is. I would have thought it might have had something to do with the fact when you worked in Cabanas, that would have been the start of the end. You two innocents from Delgany Village. Go down there like you were magic beans every night. You didn't know what was going on. Oh, I tell you now, that was the beginning of the end for the both of you. Look at you. You were bright, happy young people before you started working there.
I had hair on my head when I started. Look at me now. And just as you were before you wandered down to Grayson, and look what it did to you.
Oh man, I was pure as the driven snow, and then before you know it, there's all sorts of snow down there in that Cabanas. I wouldn't recommend that.
I remember that night well.
Have we had a time? We've had 2 weeks for those wheels to turn, and for both of you to have a good think. And I can see by the looks of you, you're still turning.
Oh, you're still turning. Anyway.
I can hear the creak from here.
I'll be on it. Oh, I see. Yes. Well, no names mentioned either as well. No.
Don't worry, I'll find the names, I'll put it in the piece. I know you're always having trouble with your memory and you can't remember exactly who you're talking about, but I'll always find out and put it in the piece for you.
Well, generally, given the business that we're in, a lot of it can be characters about people who would be from the farming fraternity or... Yes.
Alright. Well, they've no morals or scruples, so I think that's fine.
No, come on.
And no judge would hold them. No judge would take that word.
Like...
sorry, yeah, you deal with farmers, I forgot that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We buy livestock off them, and we turn it into dead stock.
That's the way, yeah.
Anyway, the interesting one we know is, it relates to a certain person who was always dealing in the farming community. This would be a person who would buy in young animals and rear them on and then sell them on to reputable...
We're talking about Cabanas still, are we?
No.
No, okay, right, alright.
No, that's a different livestock.
Right.
Oh, yes.
That's more woodstock than livestock, yeah.
Yes. And you know, Woodstock was famous for golf courses.
Hey,
yeah, Drew Glen. That was
so any kind of like, you want to mangle up the name for me, because Tony Gibbons was close, but I had to work on that one, Tony.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I don't know whether you want like a Ziggy Muck Dust or...
Zachariah. Yeah,
Zachariah.
Sorry, Zebedee.
Zebedee, alright.
Zebedee. Yeah.
Oh, your man, is this Jack Spring? Is it?
Could be Dick Spring, probably.
And then we're back to Cabanas. Yeah. We're back to Cabanas. You guys were so innocent before then. So we're dealing with a top international jet-setting farming
dealer
merchant. Okay.
Yes.
There aren't many of those.
Who lived in the northeast part of Wicklow.
The northeast part, around here. What are you talking about?
At the foothills.
The foothills, right? Okay.
Okay.
It's a new development. It's foothills. Come on, let's what that.
Anyway, he was looking to buy a few animals for the factory. Now these were...
You're not even going to name the animals. You're worried the animals might
animals.
sue. There you go, beef animals. Now he's going right down to such generics.
He was looking for old cows at the end of their life, and he called around to a certain young farmer.
Now we're talking about Mrs. Robinson's.
Oh.
Get back to Cabanas.
And you know what about Mrs. Robinson's? To know what type of clientele they have?
Holy moly.
Holy, yes. He was probably in the Cove last night.
That's what it was. Did you guys go? You weren't there. I would have seen you. I think we all would have seen you. There would have been a murmur of
waste tickets. Give it to some people that are deserving of it.
You should have told us, lads. I mean, we would have brought you down. It's fantastic. Now we have Jaws, which would suit you too, I think, given the amount on you. So we have Jaws on August 5th. So that'll be.
Have an age limit on the children can watch this program.
I think Jaws. We're suggesting to people, 12, is good. 8 or 9 might, but it's completely parental guidance. People have to. I don't think it's that.
So if you really want your child not to swim, you bring them along.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're sick of paying for swimming lessons, this is what you do.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. So we're dealing with our anonymous foothills dwelling merchant.
Dealer farmer.
Right. So that really does narrow it down around here. Yes. Well done.
Now I would say, gentlemen, watch it back there. Here.
Here we go. What's going on here? Oh yeah. Oh, we got a few tins. Oh yeah. It's Saturday, lads. Break open the cans.
He's taking his clothes off now. Yeah. See what I'm thinking.
Ba-boom.
Anyway,
yes.
I would hazard a guess that your father would have known about this gentleman.
Ah.
And because your father having a few livestock himself in the day.
See, I'm so glad it is. I mentioned these details to my mom and she said, "Oh, I know who that is." And she'll tell me straight away. That's good to know. Right.
Anyway,
there we go.
He called around to this small farmer who had a couple of end-of-life cows, as he would suspect, and he made an offer. Now, because the cows were on a few years, the farmer insisted that, look, you buy them as they stand in the field. A good old traditional way of haggling, buying, selling, but as they stood in the field meant there was no comeback.
Nice.
No guarantees, no comeback. So the deal was done, the money was handed over, and the gentleman came down with his little lorry and loaded up the 2 cows. But
well, what sort of year should we mention? 70s or 80s or what sort of?
Something about that.
Come on now, the year. It's hardly going to give you.
Anyway,
right.
The 2 cows are going up the tailgate, and one of them slips, but she manages to get in. Off they went. About 2 weeks later, your man came back to the farmer and said the cow died. And I get some of the money back because it's not fair. And the farmer said, look, we had made an agreement, you buy them as they stood in the field, that's the way it was done. Well, the cattle dealer harangued the farmer for ages, week after week, complaining, until finally the farmer turned around, gave him half the money back and said, I want to hear no more about it. Grand. Several months later in the spring, the farmer had a few calves or weanlings to sell. So he said, I'll call up to your man. So he drove up to your man's farm and he's driving down the avenue and he looks left into the field. And there among his herd of cattle, he recognises the cow.
The dead cow.
The dead cow.
Looking surprisingly perky for dead.
Very perky for a dead cow. With calf at foot, grazing the grass.
Nice.
So, just shows you.
What did he name that cow?
Frankie? Frankenstein?
And he gave it down to the hospital?
Lazarus.
Ah, there you go.
Yes.
And did he?
Goes to show you always want to know the reputation of the person you're dealing with.
So would have been slaps or anything like that for this revelation, or was there just money you had to go back again? Or
this wasn't the first time that gentleman would have been involved in
colourful dealings.
Colourful dealings.
That's
yes.
the way to put it.
Yes.
That's the way to put it.
Yeah.
So Anthony, you're going to say his name now. It'll save me a lot of searching because I don't want to be putting my mom through all these details, and you know she doesn't. The concentration's not great.
I have to ask you, what are some of these stories?
It wasn't my mother, was it? Maybe.
No.